Texans lose. CJ Stroud leaves with a concussion. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize. Every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days. Opinions to give. We got takeaways.
It was a big game for the Texans, big opportunity for the Texans, and they squander it away. It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. This is the post-game show. CJ Stroud leaves with a concussion. That's going to be something that we're going to hear a lot about. And look, ideally, you want your backup quarterback or your starting quarterback to be in the game. But I'll just jump right into it. I don't think the offense looked much different with Davis Mills than CJ Stroud. And I don't say that as a shot at CJ Stroud, but I mean, you look at what they did. They had to settle for field goals. Okay. Looks familiar. They got inside the 2-yard line. They ended up not scoring. Looks familiar. There was inability to consistently connect with receivers. Looks familiar. There was a lack of creativity. Looks familiar. There was an unwillingness to get guys involved that you think should probably be involved a little bit more. Looks familiar. So we can sit here and we can say, well, if CJ Stroud had played, then, maybe things would be different, perhaps. But this was still an opportunity for the Texans. They still had a chance. And, by the way, Bo Nix sucked. Bo Nix was not good. So, all this talk about, the quarterback, Bo Nix wasn't good. The Texans made Bo Nix look like Davis Mills until the end of the game. The only difference is they have Sean Payton and the Texans have Nick Caley. And it's actually quite similar because you see what Sean Payton's doing. Sean Payton's getting their rookie running back. They're finding creative ways to get him the ball. Touchdown by Harvey late in the game. They're feeling things out. They have a feel of things, and they end up getting it done. But if we're going to sit here and we're going to say, well, the Texans, they played their backup quarterback. 2 of the Texans' 3 wins this year are against backup quarterbacks. So this is the last team that should really be just sitting there pointing to, we had a backup quarterback and there's an excuse. I don't know what's going on with this offense. That was my biggest question mark heading into this whole thing. Is Nick Caley. I have trust issues with Nick Caley. Jaylen Noel doesn't get a single target today, not one. Woody Marks has 3 targets. And they're pretty much just balls thrown at his feet. There's no effort to get these guys involved. There's no creativity when it comes to this offense. I mean, when they get to the 1 or 2 yard line, I think they forgot where they were when Davis Mills was in there and they ran the QB sneak from the 2. And quite frankly, I think they should be running the QB sneak 4 times at that point. When they had Stroud in there. This was the same way that the Texans have lost games all year. This wasn't anything different. They asked the defense to do too much. The defense eventually crumbles. The instincts at the end of halves is pathetic. The clock management is awful. You can go back to San Francisco. The old Jeff Van Gundy, don't ignore in defeat, which don't ignore in victory, which you would not ignore in defeat. When CJ Stroud throws the interception at the end of the first half, because for some reason they're in a hurry to try to score. They did that today at the end. It's hilarious. Laugh so that you don't cry that this team is willing, and I support, they're willing to punt on 4th and 1. They're willing to kick field goals on 4th and 1. But at the end of halves, they're trying to be aggressive, and it's biting them in the ass. Should have bit him in the ass in San Francisco if the guy runs out of bounds. And I think it bit him at the end of both halves. They were bailed out at the end of the first half of this one because the guy muffed the punt. Number 83 muffed the punt. He hadn't fielded a punt all year. It was Marvin Mims. They didn't have Marvin Mims. So we can sit here and we can say, well, there was no CJ Stroud and, this That's the reason that it went down. But I think that would be very, very naive and very, very delusional based on what the Texans have benefited from and based on what we actually watched. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans in a sec. We'll hear from Davis Mills. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the video, the best sports app in the game. It is my scoring app. Absolutely love it, especially on Sundays like this. And Higher Lower is a game that I love to play. Although it's impossible to figure out with Nick Caley, because Jaylen Noel is one of your most explosive players. And as soon as Christian Kirk comes back, he's a non-factor. There's no creativity there. There's no identity. There's nothing. And this team is lost offensively. They've been lost offensively for 2 years. Doesn't matter whether it's a little bit of damn it, Bobby, or it's Nick. Nick. They look like a team that has a defensive minded head coach, and they are completely lost on offense. That's what they look like. And Denver was able to just hang around, and then the Texans gave them a gift at the end, and they ended up losing. That's where they're at. Let's go to the chat here on the Locker Room postgame show. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. I hope you're having a good Sunday despite the Texans' efforts.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
H-Town 94 says, get Caserio, Miko, Caley the F out of this city. Oh, so you want to fire DeMeco, huh? I think DeMeco's going to have a chance to oversee this. The Caley thing is like, are we just going to kick the can down the road and keep blaming the OC? Is that what we're doing? So are we just going to change OCs every year and not factor in that maybe there's some sort of mindset that goes into this? They got issues. They got issues that I think are perhaps deeper than the play caller. Although he sucks. Let's just be honest. ESG Soccer says, season been over since week 3. Get these clowns out of here. Also told you CJ wasn't a top 10 issue. Wasted Elite D, Patriots frauds, and FIFO's out. I don't know. I didn't think CJ was a top 10 QB either, but that's another issue on itself. Alan M says, if DeMeco O'Brien's ever throw Kaimi under the bus again, we throwing down. Yeah, he'll throw him under the bus. That is for sure. Yeme94 says, defense played their asses off. RIP 25 season. Yeah, defense was good. It's good effort. They're asked to do a lot. I mean, you go back to the Tampa Bay game, the Baker Mayfield run on 4th and 12. You can look at that 3rd and 12 for Denver on their final drive where, I mean, the guy's just laying right in the middle. And that's just kind of a wrap there. That was an absolute wrap where that happened. Now, they ended up not scoring there, but the field position had already been flipped. And Bo Nix, he didn't really have to run, but when he did have to run, he had a lot of opportunities throughout the game. The 25-yarder kind of iced it. Kevin says, we have to get an experienced OC if Miko is the HC. I don't think so. I think you just need to get someone who knows what the hell he's doing, that has a nice connections. Like, get this offensive staff the F out of here. Like, get these guys out of here. All of them. All of them that were here before Nick Caley, get them out of here. Everybody, running back coach, quarterback coach, tight end coach, get them all out of here. Like, Nick Caley had no opinions on the staff. Get Ben McDaniels out of here. Get Danny Barrett out of here. Get Gerard Johnson. Like, get them all out. It's weird when you have an incompetent offense and you just keep the staff and then bring in the OC. Get them all out. Complete overhaul. Not just the OC, complete overhaul. Nathan Palmer says, as soon as the offense couldn't punch it in their trip to the red zone, I knew we were screwed. Run the QB sneak 4 times. They waited till 4th down and they got the penalty. Run the QB sneak 4 times. I don't know what's so hard about that. This is the 3rd time that they've been scared to run the QB sneak. You say, well, we run it on 4th down. Come on. Run the QB sneak 4 times if you have to. Now they're going to be extra scared to run the QB sneak. Now they're going to be extra scared because that's just kind of what they do. But I do think we got to touch on The end of half clock management's been awful. I've kind of thought that the DeMeco clock management criticism before this year was like a little bit suspect. I think it's easy to kind of nitpick. But if you're watching the last 2 weeks of Texans football and you're watching what they've put out there and what they've done, it's been terrible. It's been really suspect clock management by DeMeco and Nick Caley. They have no feel. For Denver to get the ball back with 1 minute left at the end of the game, inexcusable. Absolutely inexcusable for them. Then Jaylen Noel, your biggest deep threat, 0 targets. Jaylen Noel had 0 targets today. So Christian Kirk, I told you this was my biggest concern, and this is why I didn't pick him to win.
Captain Kirk has arrived. I repeat, Captain Kirk has arrived.
Christian Kirk comes in, and we don't see Jaylen Noel. And why is he not returning kicks? If he's not going to play offense, why would he not return kicks and punts? I mean, I think it's obvious. It's kind of disgraceful that he was not returning punts 2 weeks ago against Seattle. Like just one return, like the one he had today, could have changed that game. And he damn near changed this game. He gave him not one but 2 opportunities. One to extend the lead, and another one to perhaps get a 2-possession lead. But why is Braxton Berrios returning kicks and Jaylen Noel's not? If you're not going to use him on offense, just use him at every return possible. I mean, they run the goofy reverse like this. I feel like I'm watching Bobby Slowick. We saw the Nico Collins little flip play inside the 2. We saw the Jaylen Noel random reverse. Throw him the football. It's worked the last 2 weeks. And this is why, last week we talked about as a blessing in disguise because he was forced to use, he being Nick Caley. Nick. He was forced to use Jaylen Noel, and he did. And then as soon as he wasn't forced, it's gone. And this was the other question we had against the 49ers. Can they score when they get close? They've settled for field goals. You can settle for field goals against San Francisco. You can't do it against decent teams. I don't know how good Denver is at this point. They're not great. They're better coached than the Texans. I think top to bottom, they're obviously better coached than the Texans. They're not great, though. But they have an offensive coordinator, and I think that's the biggest difference in this. The biggest difference in this is the offensive coordinators and the way in which they use what they have. Texans have no creativity. There's no like basic scouting. Like there's nothing that they see. You could tell Denver had some things that they liked. They were just going to throw deep balls. They were going to try to take advantage of the middle field when they could, and they were going to try to get Harvey in space. And they took advantage of Henry Toto in coverage. Which is something that we wonder why more teams don't do that. But they did it. There was one play where Ingram was open. Bo Nix missed him, and then on the very next play, Derek Stingley gets big body for the touchdown. But you look at the way in which these offenses are coached, that was the difference. That was the difference. Denver scored touchdowns. The Texans settled for field goals. And now here they are. They have a situation where they might not have CJ Stroud, and quite frankly, the offense looks the exact same whether it's CJ Stroud or not. That's it. Kareem says, Landry, at some point you mentioned during the season you wanted to see what Mills has. There it is. It looked just like CJ to me. Have you been watching CJ? Like, it wasn't great, but like, what is it that much different? Was it like, what was the big difference in it? They didn't execute at the end of the half. They didn't do that last week. They didn't score inside the 2. They've been doing that all season. There were some misfires, some throws, some high throws. They've been doing that. What was like the big difference in it? I'm not trying to be trite. I'm just asking, like, what was the massive difference? Like he didn't look completely lost. It didn't seem like they had less confidence in him either. I mean, go by what the coaches were doing. The coaches were doing the exact same thing. We can rewrite history now and act like, it's been great with CJ. It hasn't been good. It's a bad offense. It didn't look that good with CJ. It didn't look awesome with Mills. It looked very similar. There was a lot of that. H-Town 94 says Mills whiffed on a lot of easy throws, not like CJ. CJ's been whiffing on easy throws all year. Do you watch the games? He's been whiffing on easy throws all year. It's been the same thing. There's been a lot. Like, I don't know. I just think maybe we should probably start watching the games. This offense looks the same. It's deep. There's deep rooted issues with the offense. That's what it is.
You ain't
great.
never hate.
Swarm.
Justin Pearson says, you say every OC starts as a first-time play caller, but what's the harm in getting someone who has experience? I don't know what the harm is or isn't. I don't think that experienced play caller is the problem. I just think they hire in the wrong guys. That's the reality. But yeah, I get it. Like, I think that's probably the route that they'll go if they decide to do that. Bum Kaylee ran a QB sneak with Mills from the 3. I don't know if they didn't know where they were. They were in a hurry to do that. I don't know what that was. That was weird. It was almost like they forgot where they were and they got in like some hurry. I don't know what that was. That was weird. ESG Soccer says FIFO, effing idiots from Ohio. Don't get that CJ comment twisted. Mills was buns. CJ best player on O. No Noel or Higgs targets. Yeah, they're not. They don't get the rookies involved unless they're forced to. It's that New England BS that we've gotten used to. I don't understand it. I don't get it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Higgins did have a target, and he actually ran out of bounds, which wasn't great. Didn't necessarily help the cause. MH Weed Nation, I laughed my ass off when they ran that QB sneak with Mills first down at the 2. That made no sense. It was like bad news bear stuff. Don't know what that was. Maxwell 77, this team is as fun to watch as the Coley team. This team's arrogance in the face of everyone calling them out. It's the same stuff every week. It's crazy. Let's hear from DeMeco Ryans after the yell. It is the Locker Room post-game show. We'll get to some more comments as well, but let's hear what DeMeco had to say after this loss. I saw I made a little bit of news talking about the officials. Let's hear what he has to say.
All right, good afternoon.
DeMeco, you all had 6 plays inside the 2-yard line and didn't score. How do you grapple with that fact?
Yeah, to start for us, it wasn't good enough. We were in the red zone multiple times as an offense there at the 1-yard line, had multiple opportunities to get it in. That's just about, it's sheer willpower. To me, it's at the 1-yard line. We got to find a way to, displace guys at the line of scrimmage and punch the football in, right? And that's what it takes in that situation. We didn't get it done. Multiple other opportunities in the red zone. We came up short, right? We made it in the red zone 3 times. Like to see us convert and get in the end zone versus a really good Denver team. Credit to those guys. They did an outstanding job. Defensively, they did a good job of getting stops. They needed to get stops. We didn't play well in the red zone. We didn't play well on 3rd down. So if you don't win in those situational, critical moments of the game, it's going to be hard to win it.
How disappointing was it that your defense was able to get 3 straight stops there before their last drive, and you guys weren't able to get anything going on offense?
It's disappointing as a team. We didn't finish the game. Right, the defense, they did a good job of getting stops multiple times. We just sputtered there offensively.
That's asking for a lot. The defense put up a winning effort. Like, this is a championship caliber defense. They're being asked to do a hell of a lot.
We lacked some being able to move the ball. We lacked just being able to sustain drives there in the second half. It just wasn't good enough. We kind of sputtered along, had quick 3 and outs. When it's not good enough, we need to be able to move the ball there.
From your vantage point, just take us through that CJ Stroud play where he got injured. Just what were you kind of seeing, things of that nature?
Yeah, CJ scrambled. Of course, he slid, and the guy, came up and hit him. As I see, it's unnecessary roughness. He hit the quarterback when he's sliding and giving himself up. If I'm incorrect on the rule, I've seen that happen multiple times, with our guys, and we get the penalty, but for some reason, it just didn't happen there. So we'll look at the film and see, what actually happened there. At the end of the day, we lost our starting quarterback. All right, because of the play, and anytime you lose your starting quarterback, it's always tough. Davis battled, tried to do a good job there. He battled, but we just didn't do well offensively once we lost CJ.
Hey, DeMeco, I know you always talk about next man up and you guys are always ready, but talk about just the challenge of losing not just CJ, but Titus and Christian, and you had a lot of guys go down today.
Yeah, a lot of guys went down, Kim, and it's easy to stand up here and make excuses about, like, at the end of the day, I truly believe, like, that happens all across the league all the time. And you don't make excuses about who's in the game or who's not in the game. All right, we still had an opportunity there to close the game out and win it. Right? It's just a matter of, man, are you remaining disciplined in the moment? Are you playing the way you're supposed to play, doing the things you need to do to win the game? Everybody has to pull their weight. No matter who you are, when you get your opportunity, right, to play in that game, if you suit up, you have to be ready to go out and execute and play good football.
Coach, on that last offensive possession that you all had, was there any thought to maybe running the clock down just a little bit more, especially with the Broncos having 2 timeouts left?
Yeah, the thought there, we wanted to get quick passes to get us moving. We're trying to drive down, and of course,
that was a tough decision, man.
Try to get in field goal range but to have a couple quick incompletions it was not the plan at all for us.
Was there something that they adjusted or changed? Davis came out, was moving the ball okay, and then it felt like Denver kind of adjusted to him a little bit. Was there something that you saw that they changed or did to kind of get to him?
I thought Vance did what he always does. He mixed up his coverages a lot, some drop 8 coverages that he's shown on tape. So he did a good job of mixing it up. We just have to, again, we have to be able to make the plays we need to make. We got to run the ball better, all right? And we just got to be able to finish drives. It's third down for me. You go 3 of 17 on third down, that's not winning football.
Coach, could you, right before the half, I think it was Xavier Hutchinson, the play right there by the 35-yard line, went out and he wasn't tackled. His momentum carried him out of bounds, but they kept the clock running. What did the official tell you? Because he was not tackled inbound.
Yeah, he said that his knee was down.
DeMeco, how do you weigh not having your starting quarterback for much of the game versus the continued inefficiency of the offense?
Yeah, for me, again, I go back to, if you're in, it's all about just doing your job. Whatever your job entails, it really, to me, well, you want your best players in all the time. Yeah, if I could draw it up that way, I would make sure CJ didn't get hurt. The guy didn't hit CJ like that, and we were in a good spot to continue to press forward and drive the football. But we don't control that. So what do you control? Whoever steps in, are you doing your job? Are you doing what you're supposed to do to help the team win the game?
Can you just talk about that play where Bo Nix being able to take off running for the 25-yard scramble at the very end of the game? Was it just a broken coverage play or a bad pursuit?
Yeah, I mean, Bo made a great play there. I think we held him in check for most of the game, and in a critical moment, there it is. Their guy stepped up, and he made a play. That's what the NFL is about. He made a play. He scrambled, got out on us. We knew that was the case, but our game plan this week was about remaining disciplined for 4 quarters. Right, that's how we rush the quarterback, how we operate in coverage, being where we're supposed to be. And in the 4th quarter, right, we had a lack of discipline there, and some other times throughout the game, lack of discipline allowed them to get in scoring position and also score a couple times on us.
You mentioned in the second half you guys kind of sputtered. Obviously, CJ wasn't out there. How much do you feel like the offense kind of missed having their starting quarterback?
Every offense is going to miss their starting quarterback. I mean, we want our starting quarterback in the game at any given time. We want him in the game. That's why he's a starting quarterback. But it's no excuses. A lot of teams have won games with backup quarterbacks before. And we had our opportunity. We had our chance. The Broncos did a great job. Coach Payton did a great job. Those guys made play. Vance did a great job defensively. There's a well-coached team.
Gotcha, DeMeco. Gotcha. So there you go. I mean, it's a lot to ask of the defense, and it is crazy that DeMeco has to ask this much of his defense, but that's just kind of where this team is. And when I say it looked the same with Davis Mills out there, obviously you'd rather have CJ out there, but it looked the same. Like it looks, like overall, it's the same. It's the same inept offense. No creativity, no ability to punch it in when you get close. Throw selling, missed opportunities. That's the bottom line. It looks this offense has problems, and the problems look similar whether Davis Mills or CJ Stroud is in there. It's not saying that they're the same type of guy. It's just saying it's the same. There's the same issues. Higher scale, lower scale. But that's just where they're at. Shout out to TDECU for sponsoring Reaction Monday, as well as the Locker Room and SNL. Reaction Monday live tomorrow at probably 2:00. We just got the media availability. I think they're going to be going at 10, so we'll probably do 2:00. TDECU, go to tdecu.org/Texans. You can get that beautiful Texans debit card, 15% off at the team shop with it. Membership is required, insured by NCUA and TDECU. They do their thing. It's a great thing to be a part of. So check it out. It's not just the debit card. Let's get to, speaking of TDECU, where credit is due. Under the radar guys who deserve a little bit of credit for what they did. Jaylen Noel. I don't know how he doesn't lose his mind. The fact that his reps are so inconsistent, and sometimes he's a big part of things and other times he's not. But Jaylen Noel, he set you up a couple times, gave the offense an opportunity to put points on the board. He did his thing in special teams. He should be returning kicks too, by the way. I don't get that. Tommy Togiai, absolute freak. He's the one defensive lineman, interior defensive lineman that's under contract next year. He just keeps getting better and better. Tommy Togiai, he jumps off the screen every time he plays. And then DeMeco Autry, Sean Payton brought up the blocked field goal history with DeMeco Autry, and DeMeco Autry, he had another one today. He has 2 in 2 games. So that's where credit is due, presented by TDECU. Again, TDECU.org/Texans for that Texans debit card. We'll hear what Davis Mills had to say in a sec. Let's go back to the chat here in the Locker Room postgame show.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
The Rhino says, I hope DeMeco understands negative things will be said this week. Don't know if he does or does not. Who knows? But I would assume that would be the case. Justin Pearson says the defense allowed them to score more than a TD. Yeah, the defense was good, just asking a lot. Eventually they kind of broke at the end. ESG Soccer says Sean P. Bounty Gate us 0.5 headshots. Talking about the CJ. Not great. ESG Soccer says if this was meritocracy, DeMeco would have a room full of dudes to turn to figure out how to fix the offense. He's surrounded by JCU Nepo frauds, so he can't. I take it you don't like the offensive take. Jason Silver says Landry's Davis Mills versus CJ Stroud take is almost as bad as the game the refs called today. Thumbs down, Landry. I don't know what's hard to understand about this. Like, this is like, you don't have to be a meat writer to understand. I'm not saying Davis Mills is better than CJ Stroud. I'm saying this offense is a problem. Whether they have a backup quarterback in, whether they have the starting quarterback in, this offense is a problem. Do you disagree with that? With CJ Stroud, have we seen them get to the 2 and 1 yard line and not score? Yes, we did. We saw it today. We saw it against Seattle. We saw it against Tampa Bay. And then when Davis Mills got in, he drove them to the 2. We saw that. Did we see that? Yes. Have we seen them have to settle for field goals instead of touchdowns? Yes, we did. We saw it with CJ Stroud today. We've seen it throughout the season. We saw it last week against San Francisco, and we saw it today with Davis Mills. Have we seen them fail to get their playmakers involved consistently? The answer is yes. We saw it before today, and we saw it today. So you don't have to be overly sensitive about the quarterback. Obviously, CJ Stroud you're probably better off with CJ Stroud in there, obviously. But just listen. You don't have to meat ride the situation. This is about the offense. The offense is incompetent with CJ Stroud. The offense is incompetent without CJ Stroud. It looks similar. The problems don't go away. They don't go away when CJ Stroud's in there. Yeah, he was starting off pretty well. You know what else they did? They got to the 1 yard line and didn't score. They weren't going to. You can settle for 3 against San Francisco, and you can beat teams like San Francisco. You can't do that against teams like Denver. I don't know what Denver's ceiling is. I don't know how good they are, but that's the reality of the situation. So I don't know why this is so hard for people to understand, especially people who watch the games. That the offense looks similar. They had these same issues, whether it's a backup quarterback or whether it's a starting quarterback. It's not hard to see. You can open your eyes and see that. And here's the other thing that we also got to factor in. If we're going to sit here and talk about the backup quarterback, 2 of the Texans' 3 wins are against fucking backup quarterbacks. 2 of the 3 wins. Baltimore was depleted. They had their backup quarterback. San Francisco's playing Mac Jones, who's playing pretty well. So, yeah, you want your starting quarterback. 2 of their 3 wins have come with that. The offense looks the same. It's not hard. It's not hard to see. Just open your eyes. You see it. You've watched it all week. You've watched it all season, I should say. So this isn't that hard to see. Like if you don't want to see it and you just want to jock sniff and act like you haven't been watching this all year, it's fine. Is that CJ's fault? No. The point is it looks the exact same. They didn't change the way they called the game plan either. A lot of times when a backup quarterback goes in, they change the way that they call the game. They didn't do that, which may be to their detriment. DeMeco says they got to run the ball. I don't know that they can run the ball. But the problems with any quarterback, they're the same. It's a problem. They've had the same problems on offense the last 2 years that they've had, whether CJ Stroud's in or whether Davis Mills is in. This is not new. So that's really the whole point of it. I don't think Davis Mills is great either. I don't think CJ Stroud's been great this year. Is it his fault? No. I mean, there's the surroundings are crazy, but there also needs to be like a step back and realize that just having CJ Stroud out there is not enough at this point. He's not being put in a position to succeed. That's like, why would you defend this coaching staff? Why would anyone defend this offensive coaching staff? Like, are you confident that the Texans were going to score touchdowns if CJ was in? Why would you be? Why would you be? It's not a favorable situation. It's the same offensive line. It's the same offensive coordinator. Why would you be confident in that? It's terrible. It's pathetic. It's not good. Nick Caley is not good. The biggest concern was Nick Caley was not going to continue to spread the ball out. Like, as soon as Christian Kirk came, Christian Kirk basically pushed the rookies back, despite the fact that those guys appear to have more upside than Kirk. And we didn't see him. Sean Payton's getting Harvey in space. Multiple times he just gets him in space. Woody Marks is basically a dump down guy. Sean Payton set up that Harvey play against Toe. When's the last time they set something up for Woody Marks? It's not good. But let's not act like there's not problems with the offense when CJ's in there. This isn't hard to see. Open your eyes. You watch all the games. I know y'all do. So that's just kind of where they're at. They got problems. They got offensive problems. Let's hear what Davis Mills had to say. Or not. Let's not hear what Davis Mills had to say. Davis Mills broke the damn stream. Davis Mills. We're good without Davis Mills. We don't have to hear anything from him, or do we? Do we want to hear from Davis Mills?
I mean, it's kind of.
Nah, we're good on Davis Mills. We don't need to hear from him. You want to hear from Davis Mills? Just go to the Texans YouTube. Do we really need to hear that? It's not going to be great. Can they beat Jacksonville with Davis Mills? Perhaps. I don't know. I mean, they already lost to Jacksonville with CJ Stroud, so it's just kind of a rough season. So we don't necessarily need to hear from Davis Mills. Let's talk about the Kings of the Turf. Shout out to Texans Turf for all they've done for my home. Dan the man shopped around. Always green, always clean. No insects, no mud, none of that stuff. It's a family affair every time we go out there. And I love that I finally found someone who wasn't trying to rip me off, who no job is too big, no job is too small to take care of me. Dan and his team, they've done that. and they can do it for you as well. Go to TexansTurf.com, and they will get you. They'll get you set up for sure. And in the spirit of Texans Turf, let's go through the Texans Turf, Kings of the Turf. Sometimes it's more difficult than other games to find the Kings of the Turf, but we have three, not one, not two, but three Texans Turf, Kings of the Turf. Number one, Ka'imi Fairbairn, 5 of 6 from field goals. 5 of 6. The only guy who got on the board for the Texans today was Ka'imi Fairbairn. Whether CJ was out there or Mills, Ka'imi Fairbairn was the guy. He missed the one, but he had 5 field goals. The next one, Jaylen Noel. Jaylen Noel was where credit is due. Jaylen Noel, special teams. He should be returning kicks too. I don't know what that's about. But Jaylen Noel, the patience, everything like that. Jaylen Noel is Turf King too. And then number 3, one of the most physical players on the team, and a guy who's had a hell of a season, Kamari Lassiter. Kamari Lassiter, he's a dog. I think he ended up with 9 tackles, PBU. Kamari Lassiter's been good. I don't know that Stingley's had a good season by his standards. He got burned today on the touchdown to Sutton, but Kamari Lassiter's been great. He's been doing a really, 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 really good job for sure. Shout out to Kamari Lassiter. Those are today's Kings of the Turf.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Viromaniac says, I left my faith in this team on the 1-yard line. Fair enough. There's a lot left on the 1-yard line with this squad. Lots. It's a rough watch. It's a bad look. The OC is a problem. That's a fact. He's bad. Nick Caley's bad. He's very bad. There's trust issues. He doesn't trust rookies even when they produce. It's bad. It's very New Englandy. Very New Englandy. Not good at all. But the biggest takeaways from this one we'll get to in a sec. Let's go through the big moments and everything that went down. Texans opening drive, Fairbairn missed a 50-yarder. Now they were pushed back, and it ended up being a 50-yard attempt on the sack, but he missed the 50-yarder. And fortunately for the Texans, they were able to return the favor because DeMeco Autry, who Sean Payton talked about, he blocked a field goal. So it's basically no harm, no foul. Both teams missed field goals in some way, shape, or form. And that's how it gets started. Then Dalton Schultz, who had been banged up all season long. You knew he was going to play. And he went out there. He had the 47-yard reception that put the Texans in the red zone. And immediately you wondered, okay, are the Texans going to score a touchdown? And they get down to the 1-yard line. And just like they have a couple of times this year, they fail to score. They don't try the QB sneak till the 4th play of it, and they end up getting stuffed, and the Texans end up having to settle for a field goal after failing to score to take a 3-0 lead. Then all hell breaks loose. CJ Stroud leaves with a concussion after a scramble. Kind of an awkward slide, but he shouldn't be hit like that when he's running. He said a couple weeks ago that he's learning to slide, learning to get down. Probably needs to do a better job of that. I hope this doesn't make him hesitant to run, because I think the hesitation in running is kind of one of those things that is just not consistent with CJ. He's really good with his legs. He's made some big plays with his legs in big games and in certain situations this year. But you got to wonder, like, if this situation with the concussion after the scramble makes him even more hesitant to run. But he leaves with a concussion, and we wonder whether he's going to be back or not. Then Bo Nix put a little bit too much air on a ball. Looked like the guy was open, but he puts too much air on the ball, and Kalen Bullock goes over there and just makes a hell of a play. Kalen Bullock, I don't want to say he's had a disappointing year. It just hasn't been like as explosive as perhaps some of us thought it would be. But this was a hell of a play. This was a game changer, and this is right after your quarterback goes down. You know the defense is going to have to step up more. And Kalen Bullock, he makes that interception. He very easily could have been a king of the turf. Then Woody Marks goes down. Fortunately, he comes back, but he goes down. He ends up coming back And the Texans, they have to settle for another field goal to go up 6-0. And this time they're on the 2-yard line. So CJ Stroud takes you to the 1-yard line, you don't score. Davis Mills takes you to the 2-yard line, you don't score. That goes back to how it looks the same, and they have the same issues, whether it's Davis Mills or CJ Stroud. Can't score. Whether you're at the 2 with Davis Mills or whether you're at the 1 with CJ Stroud multiple times this year, you just can't score. And that's a problem, and they end up settling for 3. And you immediately wonder, okay, are they going to be able to do this? Is this going to be something that they're going to that they're going to be able to overcome? Well, we know how this ends, and that was the question that I asked. This was in the notes as we were going. Would settling for field goals be okay again this week? You did it last week. Are you going to be able to do it this week? 2 opportunities inside the 2, and you're only up 6-0. Then Bo Nix has a wide open Evan Ingram on the left side of the sidelines, overshoots him, but then on the very next play with Derek Stingley in coverage, he hits Cortland Sutton to give Denver a 7-6 lead. And this was one of those plays where Sean Payton dials one up. It's good. Bo Nix misfires. He wasn't good today. And then pretty much the exact same throw. He hits Sutton, and Sutton ends up scoring on Stingley to make it 7-6. Then Nico Collins, we wondered 65 yards was the over-under on sleeper. Nico Collins, he ended up with 70. He got involved a little bit early, probably not as much late as you would have liked to have seen. But Nico Collins gets lit up. He holds on, plus 15, AM1 basketball style. And the Texans get inside the red zone. 4th and 1 decision time at the end of the second quarter. The Texans elected to kick the field goal. I had no problem with this. I think this was going to be a defensive game. Now, I do think it's kind of ass backwards when on 4th and 1 you're kicking field goals, and then at the end of halves you're being overly aggressive, and it ended up kind of backfiring, especially at the end of the game. So I don't think mindset should be like 100% consistent, but it is interesting that the conservative mindset pays off. And then at the end of the first half, or into the second half, you're aggressive, and it leads to the loss. But I supported the decision to kick the field goal on 4th and 1. They can't score from the 1-yard line. They can't score from the 2. Kick the field goal, take the lead, take it to the house. No problem at all with that. Then we talked about CJ with the concussion. Titus Howard, he leaves with a concussion. So Blake Fisher, who was part of the heavy set, he's now your starting right tackle. I don't even know who the backup tackles are after that. Trent Brown not active again today. Cam Robinson, we know they got rid of him because they wanted him to get more playing time in Cleveland. Titus Howard leaves with a concussion. And then at the end of the first half, the Texans, they made a very questionable decision for the second straight week. Last week, it was San Francisco where they threw the interception. Fortunately, the guy ran in the middle of the field and time expired. If he'd have gone out of bounds, they might have had a field goal attempt. But this week, they get aggressive, and then they're forced to punt. But fortunately for them, and Cody Stutes brought this up, Marvin Mims was the only guy heading into this game who had returned a punt for Denver. They muffed the punt, and the Texans catch a break, and they end up getting some points at the end of the half, 12-7. So 4 field goals in the first half. Texans go up 12-7. And then in the second half, Sean Payton, no go on the first drive. Then you have Jaylen Noel get the ball in his hands as much as possible. I don't know why it has to just be punt return. Put him in on kick return. Give him some looks on offense. I feel like he's made some plays. But a Noel punt return sets up a field goal, and the Texans take a 15-7 lead. So it's a 1-possession game. It felt like if you had a 2-possession lead that this maybe would have been enough. But when you're settling for field goals, it's just hard to build a 2-possession lead. And that was it kind of felt similar to San Francisco last week, where they ended up getting the 2-possession lead and you felt safe with it, but they just were not able to do it. And despite Jaylen Noel setting them up again, they once again fail to score, fail to capitalize. And then there's kind of a punt off in the third quarter. I mean, this Broncos punter, absolute freak show of a punter. And Tommy Townsend kind of muffin punts while this guy's doing his thing, kind of flipped the game a little bit, damn near 80-yard touchback. And then Sean Payton, the Texans don't get creative with Woody Marks. Like Woody Marks is just kind of a dump off option. And they have Harvey, another guy that was kind of in the same category as Marks. He burns To'o. Broncos convert the 2-point attempt, and the game's tied. And at that point, you're feeling a little bit nervous because now it's not the offense cannot get passive. You now need Davis Mills. You now need the backup quarterback to go score some points. And you can't really depend on your defense as much as you would like. So it's kind of a little bit of an issue. Then there was a lot of orange. They weren't necessarily loud until that momentum flipped at the start of the fourth quarter. And this is where, much like San Francisco last week, you kind of start to feel that traveling road crowd and Denver fans started to kind of take over. The volume was really, really high. You could feel the momentum. And the Texans defense, which they've done multiple times, they bail the Texans out with a much-needed stop. They halt the momentum with assists from Bo Nix. Bo Nix missed a couple of open guys, couple of questionable decisions, and then a tough break for the Texans. This could have potentially been a game changer. We were talking about the punt off earlier on. Could have been down at the 1. Jamal Hill kind of touches it while he's standing in the goal line, and then they bring it out to the 20. And then the Denver punter, he boots a 76-yard touchback. Tommy Townsend boots a 73-yard touchback. So the punt off continues. And then this was where the game was kind of felt like Denver was going to win. But Texans actually kind of held up here too. But on 3rd and 11, Patrick Bryant's wide ass open. He moves the chains. Texans get the ball with a chance to perhaps take it to the house and start overtime. They get a little bit greedy and sloppy. They throw a couple of incompletions. There's an out of bounds that they definitely didn't need. And then they have to punt to Denver with 1 minute left. Bo Nix, who'd been hesitant to run all game, he finally runs. He takes what the defense gives him, and he runs for 25 yards to set up Denver for the win. And that was the end of it. That was all that she wrote for the Texans. And now we've talked about 5-5 as the goal. That's still in front of them, but now you're going to have to face Jacksonville, perhaps without CJ Stroud, and then you're going to have to face Tennessee, and we'll see what happens there. So getting to 5-5 was kind of your puncher's chance, and the Texans failed to do that. And I thought even with Davis Mills, they had a chance to win this game. And I can't really fault the defense. I know DeMeco is always going to be critical of the defense because he's he's a defensive-minded coach. But I thought the defense did everything that they could today. You would have liked to have seen them get off the field, but I mean, they just ran out of gas. It's a lot to ask. I mean, you can win 3-pointers in basketball games. It's very hard to win football games 3-pointers, especially against good teams. So that's the problem is you're asking a hell of a lot of this defense, and the offense doesn't even have to be good. They could be bad. They just can't be god awful. And that's what you're dealing with right now is you're dealing with a god awful offense. There's a lot of problems, like if you want to power rank them, you can power rank them. I'm just listing in no particular order. Your offensive coordinator has no feel. Your personnel is a little bit suspect. The personnel that you do have appears to be misused. And sometimes you use a QB sneak, sometimes you don't. 3-yard line QB sneak, that was crazy. But they are flawed in many ways when it comes to offense. You can pick whether they have CJ Stroud, whether they have Davis Mills, whether they decide to play Graham Mertz next week. They're a flawed offense. And that's been the case for the last couple of years, no matter who is or isn't in the lineup. That's the other thing. It was almost like discouraging that Christian Kirk came back because it was like, okay, well, they're not going to use Nolan Higgins now. And that's exactly what happened. It's very New England-y. They do not like rookies. And it's a damn shame that DeMeco Ryans trusts rookies, and for some reason Nick Caley does only when he's forced to do it. It's not a consistent thing. It's not good for CJ Stroud. It's not good for a defense that is elite. And it's not good for them to be able to try to do what they're trying to do and what their goals are. I don't know when the Texans are going to beat a good team. Do you consider Jacksonville a good team? I think they're in overtime right now with the Raiders. Like if I asked you, is Jacksonville good? What would you say? I know the Texans lost to them. But like, do you consider Jacksonville good? The answer is probably not, right? It looks like they're about to score and in the game and beat the Raiders. But they haven't beat a good team. And that's the other thing I think is it needs to be at least acknowledged that, yeah, your backup quarterback was in there today. You still had a chance. Bo Nix sucked. He was terrible. And 2 of your 3 wins have been against backup quarterbacks. So what does that say? What does that say if we're saying that? It's a rough look. This was a huge opportunity. And with or without Davis Mills, they could have won this game. There's problems. These guys aren't put in good position to succeed. And quite frankly, even if they were, there would still be questions. But that's just where it is. They got issues. They got a lot of issues. And I don't know how they solve it. And quite frankly, it's frustrating that these are the same issues that they had last year.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Viromaniac again. Can any of the stat gurus give me our red zone TD percentage? It's low. It's low. It's very low. Justin Pearson says DeMeco should call plays. F it, mix it up. I don't know that you want that. He probably run the ball a lot. I think he probably wants them to run the ball a lot. Crazy Texan, shout out to you. He says, same old story once again. I would say clean out every one of the offensive coaching staff. Get rid of all the O-line except Ursary and get Caserio out of here. Playoffs are out. Let's get a high draft pick. You're talking about tanking? They got to get to 5-5. And then make some sort of run. Like, hope they figure it out with CJ. I have no hope in it. I have no faith in Nick Caley. William says, people saying fire Nick Caley, fire Nick Caserio. Meanwhile, I'm just here for my whatever. Gotcha. You think you're going to catch me doing that? You think I'm going to catch you? ESG Soccer asks, what would I do to fix it? Fix the offense? I'm running QB sneak every time you get to the 1 yard line. I don't care if it's 4 times. I'm running QB sneak. They're good at it. They get scared to do it. They tried it on 4th down today. They ended up getting the penalty. I'm running QB sneak every time it's 4th and short. I'm finding ways to throw the ball to Woody Marks. Woody Marks should have a minimum of 5 catches a game. I don't care if they're swing passes. I don't care if they're outs. I don't care if you put him in the slot. I don't care if you're running wheel routes. Woody Marks needs to be treated like a guy who is an elite receiver with an elite skill set. 5 catches a game at least to Woody Marks. I'm also using Jaylen Noel, and I'm getting the ball in his hands. He's returning kicks. He's returning punts. And if you don't trust him to block or whatever the hell it is, that's fine. Put him out there in passing downs. And I'm feeding Nico Collins early and often. And I'm not putting Dari Gumbawale out there anymore. I don't care if you have to go get a running back on the street. I'm not putting Dari Gumbawale out there anymore. That's enough of this. They don't have to be good. They just have to be bad. This offense cannot even be bad. They're god-awful. But every time it's 1 yard, I'm running QB sneak. I don't care if it's 4 times. I'm damn sure not running it and rushing it from the 3 yard line. I don't know what the F that was. But that's what I'm doing. I'm damn sure using Jaylen Noel. Like, Jaylen Noel not having a target is insane. I'm using the ball in Jaylen Noel's hands. I'm gonna use it as an extension of the run game. A lot of people roll their eyes when you start talking about extensions of run game. I get it. But that's what I'm doing. But it's a problem. It's a big problem. VW Blue Sky says tush push works for the Eagles. Their quarterback squats 600 pounds. Like, that's not a, their quarterback literally squats 600 pounds. So it's a little bit different. Like, you've seen teams try to copy the tush push. It doesn't work because their quarterback don't squat 600 pounds. Not everyone can do that. I don't think it's that simple. Nathan Palmer says maybe they should start learning the tush push. So you're going tush push too. Just run the QB sneak. They've been good at the QB sneak. Just the normal, traditional QB sneak, they've been very solid at. Very easy. They don't do it. They don't do it when they're facing a good team. They were scared to run it against Tampa Bay. They were scared to run it against Seattle. And then they get San Francisco depleted. They decide they're going to run it 3 times in the first half, and they're going to convert all 3. This time they don't do it till they're desperate. Run the ball. Run the ball with the QB. Biggest takeaways from the day, and I appreciate everyone for rolling through. We are in this together no matter what. Like, it's not optional for me and Stutes. SNL Live tomorrow, Texans Collective as well, if you're not subscribed to that, and the locker room as well. So we're going to cover it. We're going to be honest, and we're going to have fun no matter what. But we are going to call it like we see it. Biggest takeaways, I have 5 today. I actually have 6, and I also have a bonus one when it comes to the takeaways. A lot of these are connected to what we talked about leading up to the game. Takeaway 1, the offense looked the same with Mills. Same problems. Maybe more extreme than they are, but same problems. I've already listed it. Same problems. Obviously, CJ Stroud's better than Davis Mills. But the offense, the problems, the issues that they have, they're the exact same. Are extremely similar. So that's takeaway number 1. Takeaway number 2, settling for 3 doesn't work against good teams. We talked about this as a potential issue. Settling for 3 does not work against good football teams. You cannot settle for 3 against good teams. You can do it against San Francisco with their backup quarterback, both of their top receivers out, their top elite defense players out. You can do that. Can't do that against Denver, regardless of what you think they are or are not. So that's takeaway number 2. Takeaway number 3, Noel gets no offensive opportunities. That's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. It was the biggest fear going into this game that Jaylen Noel was just going to disappear. He disappeared. I asked him after the game, like, are they telling you what you need to do? He said, no, I trust the coaching staff. So he's playing it appropriate. I don't trust the coaching staff. I think it's an incompetent offensive coaching staff. And I don't know if this has been McDaniel's idea. I don't know if this is Nick Caley's idea. Whoever's effing decision it is to limit the times that Jaylen Noel touches the ball is a disgrace. Braxton Berrios should not return kicks over Jaylen Noel. That's pathetic. And we didn't see Berrios this week either. He actually played pretty good on offense. He disappeared because of Christian Kirk. So they completely pissed on what they saw last week. And that's why every time they beat a good team and we talk about momentum and stuff, just squash it. Get the men in black light, go like that, because none of that shit matters. Because once they play a good team, they're going to be more scared. And once they get their vets back, they're going to push those rookies back and those contributors, and they're just going to push it back because they overthink. Takeaway 4. Nix was able to coast till the end. Bo Nix did not play good. That was not a winning effort by Bo Nix. I know he had the run at the end, but the amount of receivers he was missing, the Texans defense put out an effort that was good enough to win the ball game. Bo Nix wasn't good. He was not good. So that was the other takeaway I had. It's not like, even with Davis Mills, it's not like Bo Nix was that much better. He's better, but it's not like he was that much better. Takeaway 5, the defense is asked to do way too much. They're asked to do way too much. Way too much. DeMeco said they got to make the stop. You probably should have just taken it to overtime. That's a problem. But the defense is asked to do way too much. And oh, by the way, bonus, the end of half management by DeMeco Ryans and Nick Caley has been terrible too. It's been bad. That's the bad news. Not a great game. That's the bad news. Good news, the quest for 5-5 is still alive. You got the Jags, and then you got the Titans, And that 5-5 when they started out 0-3 is still alive. Could have gotten greedy, though. Could have easily gotten greedy, but 5-5 is a must at this point. You got to beat the Jags, who just won, and you got to beat Tennessee. Would I bet on it? Don't know. Probably not going to have CJ Stroud next week. We know how concussion protocol is. So they're going to have to figure something out with Davis Mills. But overall, just a piss poor effort. Justin Pearson says, why is Dare playing? I don't know. They love him. They can't quit him. I don't get it. No idea. But that's where we're at. And no matter what, whether you agree, disagree, whatever, who cares? It's healthy. But it is a frustrating football team to watch. It's a familiar football team to watch. And they piss away an opportunity. In less than 2 weeks, they've had 2 opportunities to improve to 500 against good teams. The Seattle thing was a dud. This one was a dud with a couple of yeah buts. But let's be honest, 2 of their 3 wins have yeah buts too. So whatever. It's an ass operation when it comes to offense. It's an ass operation when it comes to offense. Whoever you want to blame, it's what it is. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. It's an ass operation. Nick. And we can't blame Bobby Slowick for that. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Shout out to the greatness that is Sleeper. Play higher, lower. Also, take advantage of the promo that Sleeper has. $20. I got some messages from people who are playing. They enjoy it. It's fun. $20 free, no deposit needed. Also, if you want to combine that offer, you can get 100% match up to $100 by using the promo code Locker. I'm going to get on it tonight with Seattle and Washington, and I'm enjoying it. Now, didn't go well for the Texans because I did not know that Nick Caley was going to completely throw Jaylen Noel in the doghouse. Thought he might have some yards. Also thought that perhaps Woody Marks would figure some stuff out. But yeah, that's where we'll go. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Tim says he played the promo. Good stuff. Be like Tim. And always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Reaction Monday tomorrow about 2. DeMeco is going to speak, and we'll have some open locker room as well. If you missed any of the interviews, talk to Dalton Schultz, talk to Jaylen Noel, talk to Ariante Ursary. Those are in the short section of the YouTube channel. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, no matter how effing frustrating it can be, we're all in it together. Appreciate you.
Got takeaways, if it's up, then it's up. We number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too.